This is the Bonus Section Podcast, episode number 22. What story are you telling yourself? Are you the type of person that knows you were meant for something greater in this lifetime, and it's somewhere inside of you, there's just this bigger version of yourself just trying to break through? But in spite of all your self-development, you just can't seem to find the way up. Well, then, hey, you're definitely in the right place. I'm Danny Griffin, the founder of the Bonus Section and the host of this podcast, and a person just like you trying to live the most self-fulfilling life possible. Now, to help you take immediate action to get moving in maybe a better direction, we're going to take all the notes from each episode, and we're going to post them for a short time over at freethinkingtools.com. freethinkingtools.com, so you can download an episode at a time. We'll leave a couple up there. So you have something to sit down, cup of coffee, glass of wine, somewhere quiet, whatever it is, and go work on yourself and your plan for your life. Just take some time out to be strategic about your life. It's important. It's important to me, and it's even more important to you. All right. So what story are you telling yourself? This is a big one. The first point I want to make here is that the story that we tell ourselves about what's possible for us inside of our lives has been heavily influenced. Yes, the story, the narrative that you have about who you are and what's possible for you has been heavily influenced. Think about this. From the time you're a child, all the way up until you actually get through puberty without blowing yourself up, and you've been talked to about, by teachers, by parents, by people of influence, and a lot of you, bad things have happened, really bad things have happened to you. So now all those things that happen to us, positive and negative, they all become part of this story we begin to formulate. So all these experiences that as a child we often don't have any control over what happens, and as an adult too, but especially during those formative years, we're not just growing up physically, but we're growing up mentally in a certain way. Our mind is being formed by these experiences and what people tell us and what people say about us and what people say is possible for us. So we're being heavily influenced. So this is why when you really think about who do you hang around with, or who do your children hang around with? What schools do they go to? What are the teachers saying to them? What is the environment in general that we grow up in? We have to become cognizant of that. And if we're looking back on our lives, we have to say, what was it like to be me? Because there are some negative influences that we have to deal with. I mean, to the extent that you might have to get some professional guidance from a good psychologist, etc. I'll just leave it at that. I always am a huge fan of that. I've gone through it myself as a younger guy, and it was very helpful. It made me regress into some certain things and think about the stories I tell myself, and why was I pressing so hard to become certain things that I maybe wasn't interested in becoming. That's because of that influence. So that narrative that you tell yourself might have you completely off the path that you're interested in traveling. Let that sink in for a second. Who are you trying to please? Who told you, oh, you could never do that. You could never make a living doing that. Oh, there's plenty of those people. Why would you want to become that? See what I mean? Some of these people are the closest people to us. Some of them aren't even intending to hurt us, but they're killing us. They're killing what we believe is possible. They're crushing our dreams without even knowing that. And then there are the ones that are knowingly doing it, maliciously doing it. All right, you get the point. You surrender. I can hear you up there, right? It can really be influenced, your life, your story, by other people, and it is heavily. Now, of course, I will go and say, congratulations to all you fabulous mentors and you fabulous parents or guides, people that stepped in for parents where there were none, and you just did nothing but made people believe that there were no limitations on what they could become. I award you 5 gold stars here at the bonus section. You are the heroes, and a lot of you unsung, because nobody heard your positive whispers in the ear of a child, a struggling teenager, a broken adult. Nobody heard it but that person. You are the hero of this story. Your positive influence matters. Bravo. I get the chills because I'm thinking of one recently that affected a young gal who's important in my life, and in my daughter's life. She had an influence like that. Bravo, right? Those people are the best. And that segues into this next point here, is that those are the people that talk about the possibilities. And that term is very powerful, but it's one thing to just have somebody say anything's possible. You know, I've heard athletes say that. I've heard that term. It's wonderful. Anything's possible. It's positive thinking. And I like that. Anybody that says, oh, I don't believe in positive thinking. What? What do you mean you don't believe in positive thinking? Negative thinking stimulates negative chemical drip inside your body. Positive does the opposite and creates a positive chemistry inside your body. The psychosomatic connection is undeniable, folks. Smelling salts moment. Wake up. The way that we think physically influences us. So when somebody is positive and says positive things and we begin to believe, there's a belief in possibility, you get excited. What do you think the chills are? When you get excited, I just felt them again. It's because I'm saying and I'm talking and my voice is elevated and I'm changing my state to believe for you. I'm excited for you. I want to pass this on to you. It's possible for you. But I want to go deeper into that. What is a possibility? So the next note I had for myself here to talk about was possibilities have no biases. Let that sink in for a second. This is getting more exciting as I'm actually saying it out of my mouth. I wrote the notes, but now that I'm saying it, I'm excited because you see, no matter how much negative influence has affected your story in a negative way, and somebody said that's not possible for you, you can't do that. You're not smart enough, tall enough, fast enough, whatever. The possibility itself doesn't have any bias. The possibility itself can't look back at you and say, see those negative people, they were all right. They were right. See, possibilities are just a thing. It's inanimate. It has no life to it. It's just a thing. You want to become an NHL player. You want to become an actress. You want to become a great lawyer. You want to become a superb doctor. Those are possibilities. They're just things. And they have no bias. They don't look at your background. They don't look at the color of your skin. They don't look at what language you speak. They don't look at any of that stuff. They just sit there waiting for you. A whole shelf of possibilities in life. Any of them are choosable too. We have this sense of free will. That's why freedom is such a hugely important thing in my mind's eye. The freedom to choose and move in a positive direction, to not be enslaved in any form or fashion by anything. Physically is the worst. Monetarily is another one. Whatever. Freedom matters. The freedom to pursue whatever possibility you choose. We come back to that story. You see, the great news is, even though other people tell us the story of what they see for our lives, there is absolutely nothing stopping you from the very first possibility, which is to write a new script, a new story for yourself. What is possible for you? And, look, don't get me wrong. Like I always say, I haven't flipped my wig. I do understand that physically, there may be things that are just physically unachievable for you. I understand that. I respect that. But let's just say that's only a small fraction of possibilities for our life. And I know that we have multiple interests. Even if, let's just give an example. What if you weren't physically big enough, fast enough to play professional basketball or hockey or become a professional ballerina? What if you weren't? Well, that doesn't prevent you from being in and around that game and that sport in some other capacity. There are new possibilities where we might run out of physicality. How cool is that? It's not that you just drop the whole interest. You go be part of that industry. You be part of that thing in another way. You become a coach, a teacher. You assimilate the information. And you become part of somebody's life who is the athlete, the ballerina, whatever it might be. I'm not going to go down the possibilities because there's so many of them. The shelf is loaded and it's endless. Imagine in your mind's eye in the story, the first thing that we're rewriting so we can clean this act up is imagine this warehouse that goes on forever. There is no end to it, because that's what possibilities are. There are no ends. There are no limitations, and they sit there without biases. Nobody says you can't reach it. Even if it is something beyond your physical capability, it doesn't mean you can't reach it, touch it, talk about it. It doesn't mean that. Let that sink in. Physically, you might not be able to get it, but you can still touch it, talk about it, live it, be it in some other capacity or some way. Just remember, possibilities have no biases. They're not the thing that is stopping you. It is your ability to walk into the room of possibilities and choose through your own free will what you want to talk about. Nobody else from your parents. And again, I'm not trying to get you in a tiff with your parents. Well, maybe I am. I'll take that back. Maybe you do need a tiff with your parents, your friends, your family. But most importantly, I'm talking to you. Why are you letting anybody else's negative influence to your story stop you from considering possibilities you want? That's the point. Now, the positive folks who are influencing you to say you can be anything, yeah, that's great, okay? Go hang around them more and say, I need a dose of you. I've been thinking about changing careers. I've been thinking about doing something nobody thinks I should do, and it's all I can think about. I go to sleep thinking about this thing, that it's possible for me. And I've been online all night long, and I see that there are resources and ways to get there. What do you think? Well, I think you should go for it, says the positive influencer. Right? I support you, even if it's a whisper. Shh. Don't tell anybody else. They say, just do it. You can do it. I had a grandmother like that. I had an uncle like that. Right? These were my mother's mother and her brother. These people were unbelievably positive influences. I mean, my Uncle John, yeah. That's all he could say. He would get excited when you would just talk about possibility. Yeah, go for it. Go for it. And my grandmother, always just positive, always about what was possible. Way ahead of her time with oh gosh, I could go on and on and on. Just suffice to say, positive people. Two of the most positive, supportive people I ever had around me in my entire life. Everything was just, you can do it. And sometimes it's just that simple. I mean, they're clearly not going to be the coach or the one that guides you to do the things specifically and tactically. You have to go seek and search that. But just to have somebody say, you can do it. Let me be that person for you today if you're listening to this podcast. You can do it. Yes, you can. Regardless of what you think based on an old story, just simply write the first chapter that anything is possible for you because you have the free will to choose to move in that direction. And when you're staring at that possibility on the shelf, it's not the one saying, no, you can't, because it can't do that. It's just saying, I'm here. Do you want to reach up on the shelf and take me down or not? That's your call. Now, the next point is, you see, starting your pursuit of a possibility actually starts in the mind. That's what I just said. So the story is subconscious mostly. I want you to make it conscious, right? I'll talk about that in a second here. But it comes out, and let's go back to my good friend Maxwell Maltz and his concept of the theater of the mind. That you can sit down and write the script. What does this look like in your mind? I just started it for you. For me, I can imagine this massive warehouse, like an Amazon-style warehouse, only this one's even better. I walk in the door, and there's beautiful, bright colors. For me, it's blue and violet colors that I like, right? I see them, and they're all lit up, and the names of the possibilities are there, and it is endless. But I can say, hey, I'm going to stand on this little movable circle. And I want you, and I'll close my eyes in this theater of the mind, and I want you to take me over here to coaching. What are the possibilities for me as a coach? What can I do? I want to see media, and it zips me around, and it shows me all of these things that are possible. And I can move around this warehouse rapidly with speed. It's the theater of the mind. You can't stop me. My story can't stop me. I just need to get my state changed like I am in this podcast. I changed my state to be hype about this and excited and not let anybody stop me. I'm down in my little studio theater just talking to you and possibilities, and I can see it. And now it starts to become exciting, and now I want to go outside the theater of the mind, and I want to go looking. That's the next point here. While there might be, when I walk out of the theater of the mind into the real world outside, I'm hype, I'm ready, I've changed my state. I'll be okay. See, I'm even stuttering. I'm so excited, right? I've changed my state. I'm ready. But now I have to go out and take massive action. Like Tony Robbins says, I got to go do it. I'm going out there to do that thing. And while there might be real world obstacles, is my next point, if you relentlessly pursue the resources to overcome, you will not be denied. Let that sink in, because I know what you're saying. And again, I dealt with the reality, okay? I didn't make some delusional story so that you do something foolish based on this conversation that I'm having. You go out and you understand that there are some physical issues that we might have. Again, I'll go to pro athletics because that's just an easy one for me to go to. But there might be other things. We are physically limited, but it doesn't stop you from being in and around that thing. So if it's a sport, if it's some profession that you can't be one part of it, be another part of it. Get as close to what you really want as you can. And look at other possibilities, because maybe the thing that you're not physically capable of was just part of your story to draw you in closer to see the thing that was sitting right next to it that says, voila, there's the thing I was always meant to be and I didn't know I thought I wanted to be the center iceman on the first line when it turns out I wanted to be behind the bench coaching. I wanted to be the trainer who ran out in the ice and helped the hockey players. See where I'm going? It just doesn't stop. These possibilities come rushing down once we get into that arena, that general place. You got to get close to that place and find out what's there. I told my daughter, who graduated with her BFA in acting and writing, just get to LA and get in and around this massive thing and look at everything else that comes with it. Now she's talking about singing. She's definitely talking about a variety of types of acting. She's definitely talking about a variety of types of acting, because when she got closer to the thing that she thought it was in and of itself, it turned out to be a whole shelf of possibilities. A whole shelf. And then you just have to be resourceful. And if you wake up every day and you say, what's the resource I can find? When we go online, I mean, the day and age that we have, a phone, in a computer, the ability to go online and start to look for resources, then get back in your car, drive to the resource, see it, meet people, join groups, talk about this stuff. Man, the acceleration is so exciting. You look at the horses out of the barn and it's wild, and you're not going to put that thing back in captivity. Once you get out there like this, you will have a very difficult time letting that negative story put that horse back in the barn. If you get close to the thing, if you see other people like you doing the thing. Yes, there are other people like you that have broken out of the barn and they've found the thing and they've made their adjustments and become part of the arena. You can too. And you'll find that that'll be the contagion. If they can do it, I can do it. Yes, it's possible. Because I'm resourceful. I'm close. I'm in the arena. This is all beginning to seem practical. See, if you're stuck in your head, we go back a couple of beats here. If you're stuck in your head with the negative story of the past, you don't even know what it's actually like, for example, to move from Boston to LA. You don't even know. You're guessing. You don't know what it's like to go down to Wall Street and start a career. You don't know what it's like to take a ballet class simply because it turns out that this is really just a passion. You like the job. It turns out that you do, but you're much happier in the job you're doing because you're taking ballet at 43 years old for the first time. You started the piano at 62 years old with your grandchildren at home. There's nothing that's stopping you. You're making these stories up. The time or resources or whatever are in the way. It's not. It's the story. All right. Before I go over the edge here with enthusiasm, I'm going to go back and I'm going to hit these points again. What story are you telling yourself? The beats here are, the story we tell ourselves has been heavily influenced. So bring the story to the forefront. Be cognizant, be conscious about the one you're telling yourself. And it's the global one. It's the way that when you look in the mirror, it's the one you tell yourself about you. What's your self-image? When you look in the mirror, what do you see? What limitations do you think that you have? What limited possibilities? That's what you have to deal with, right? Next, remember, possibilities are endless. They can break off into little pieces. They are sitting in the ultimate warehouse, and they're not biased. They're not the ones telling you you can't have me. The story as influenced by other people who said that in a negative way, sometimes not even meaning to steal those possibilities. Go confront the possibility itself, and it says, well, I don't know what you've been waiting for. I've been sitting here on the shelf the whole time. I'm not biased against you. Even if you don't have the physical possibilities, come up here and grab me down off the shelf. Yeah, you're not going to play in the NBA, but man, we got a super men's league sitting down the street. You can make some good friends, and every Thursday night we meet. Not all you get it. Starting your pursuit of a possibility actually starts in the mind. So I'm just talking to myself. I'm making it up in my head with you as a visual. I'm sitting here in a tiny little room. I'm not down, in front of one of these possibilities. I'm in my mind. I'm taking you into my mind and then taking a walk with you in yours. And I'm saying, open up the warehouse in your mind. All these possibilities are there. Create a little mover that zips you. This is your story. You can zip down one aisle and up the next. Don't get overwhelmed by all the possibilities. Narrow it. Say, well, I'm not interested in that. I'm interested in this. Boom, bam. There we are. There's that possibility. Oh, did you know there's other ones like that? Oh, yeah, I always thought of that too. It's all in your mind. And then remember, when you step outside the theater of the mind and you go out into the real world, be relentless in pursuit of that thing, because the resources will be right there and you will use them to overcome. And ultimately, you will not be denied your success. Be relentless, because the pursuit is so delicious. If you know that possibility is the one you always wanted, why would you ever stop? That's a life well lived. The relentless pursuit of the possibility you so desperately want at a soul level. Can't find self-fulfillment without that pursuit of that thing. All right, let me summarize it this way. The stories we tell ourselves have been heavily influenced and can be powerful in the extreme as either a debilitating negative or an uplifting positive. Bravo to those that helped with that. It's critical that we bring the story we tell ourselves about what's possible for our life to a conscious level and edit our story to ensure that we are positive-minded and then resourceful. All right, now remember, beyond all this passionate dialogue I have, you can take immediate action to get moving in a better direction, because I take all the notes, or I actually have somebody take the notes, super team that I have. They take the notes and they post them for me over at freethinkingtools.com so we can share them. So you don't have to try to go back and listen to everything I did. You can look at the highlights. You can look at the bullet points that I keep in front of me and keep me organized. So this is a structured conversation, believe it or not. And you can take that, sit down somewhere where you're comfortable, get up in your head, get it out of your head through your arm down to your paper, your notes, and then go take action. That's what I do with all my coaching members in my real estate context, right? Do the same thing. Also, don't forget, you can subscribe to this podcast on iTunes, Spotify, or wherever you listen to podcasts, so that each time we upload, you don't miss these insights and you stay there. You stay working on yourself. You are more important than anything you do, right? Your life plan is more important than anything you're doing for your job, your children. You got to do something for yourself. Work on yourself, right? We also post all these episodes on our social media channels, so it's easy to find us. So remember, you go looking for the bonus section on social. You'll find us. Turn on the little bells and whistles, and you won't miss the reminders. And plus, you can look at back episodes, little quips and quotes. And remember, back at freethinkingtools.com, you can download the notes there. We'd also appreciate it if you would share this content with other people just like you, so they get the help that they need and they can get stimulated in this direction. And you can join me on the mission of being people for others. Got to give. It's the highest level of life, when you give to others and you empower them. Hey, thanks for listening. But remember what I always say at the end. Nobody's coming for you. So go get to work on yourself. And I will see you in the next episode. Thanks for listening.